Hi guys, so today's video is on my top tips for traveling with an infant. So if you're looking for stress-free ways to manage your travel with your infant, then stick around. So the first thing is when you're booking, the top tip that I would suggest is to make sure when you're booking to get the seat that is directly behind business class, because this seat will give you lots and lots of room, and not only will it give you room, but it will also mean that you'll be able to request from the airline a bassinet. And this bassinet is probably, I would say, maybe about 70 centimeters long. So for a child my child is 8 months old. So, and she's about, I would say, 66 centimeters long. So she fits fairly well inside the bassinet that I was given, but she couldn't stretch all the way. So it's not really for much longer children. Number 2, book your insurance. Now, if you want to risk it for yourself, that's entirely fine, but make sure that your child has good insurance, because it's just not worth the risk. I mean, chances are nothing will go wrong, but make sure that you book insurance. Number 3, leave in plenty of time. I cannot stress this enough, because with an infant, well, first of all, traveling to the airport anyway, you should leave in plenty of time for many good reasons, like, you know, there might be an accident on the way, I don't know, like you might get a flat tire or whatever. But with a child, you also have to factor in that, you know, you might have, I don't know, some sort of you know, nappy explosion, some, you know, projectile vomit, or, you know, all manner of things can go wrong. So it's good to leave in plenty of time. But then also, when you leave in plenty of time, it also means that you can, one, ask for an upgrade if necessary. So you might be able to get like a better seat than the one you've booked. 2, you'll have to allow for extra security checks, because things like formula, especially the pre-made formula, if you're taking it into your hand luggage or the luggage you're taking into the hold, that will be checked. Also, things like strollers and things like that you're going to take into the hold, they will be checked. So just allow extra time for not only, you know, potential emergencies, but also the extra security checks. Number 4, bring a stroller. Now, you can either bring a stroller or you can bring a baby sling. It depends on what your activities are going to be. But for the airport, a sling or a stroller would be really, really ideal. Now, I would recommend that you get one of the umbrella fold strollers. And the reason is the umbrella fold strollers, you can take that all the way through the airport into right up to the doors of the plane, and they will stow that somewhere within the aircraft for you. You will be reunited with it almost immediately after you get off the flight. If you decide to bring one of the expensive travel systems, you not only risk it being, you know, basically broken, because if you've ever seen baggage handlers handle your luggage, you will know that a lot of them are not very careful. But also, bringing the expensive travel system means it can't go into the cabin. It has to be checked in. Number 5, bring a car seat. You will need a transfer from the airport to wherever you're going. Sometimes you can request a car seat for a baby, but for the most part they will give you a booster seat. Even in this country, when I've tried to book a taxi, they give you a booster seat. They don't give you like a proper infant car seat. Now, if they do offer you an infant car seat, you know, it's great. It means that you don't have that extra luggage. But know that with the infant car seat, you can also bring that to the airport, and that will be stowed away for free. So it's, you know, that it doesn't incur an additional cost. Number 6, bring a travel cot. Now, this really depends on where you're going. So if you know that you are going to a destination like a hotel where they will be able to give you an additional bed, so you and your partner don't have to co-sleep with your baby, then great. And I would always recommend when you're booking with a hotel is that you ask for an extra bed. So they'll normally give you like a cot bed or like a day bed or something like that. If you know that you're going to an Airbnb, for example, your host is unlikely to have a cot for you, so I would recommend that you bring like a travel cot. The ones that I would recommend are the ones that fold up. I don't think this will be allowed as part of your luggage allowance, but again, check with your airline. Number 7, packing. You have to like split your packing into 2 sections. So the first part of packing is your hand luggage, and this will normally comprise of your typical things like a nappy or nappies, change of clothes, you know, bibs, etc. So I recommend that you bring something really basic that can help you deal with your babies potentially being sick or unwell on the flight. Airlines all have first aid kits, so you don't need to worry about bringing a whole first aid kit, but I would recommend that you bring something like infant paracetamol, bring your formula, your pre-made formula, and also bring a nasal aspirator in case, you know, your baby, you know, you need to clear your baby's nose. Also bring some saline solution, which is what I brought because, like, you know, prior to the flight, my baby had a very stuffy nose. I also brought a dummy and a dummy or a pacifier. I don't actually use a pacifier with her at all. She's never really taken to it, but I did bring a pacifier because in the aircraft, again, you know that your ears can pop and that can be painful for some babies. And so when they're sucking on the pacifier, it helps them clear the blockage in their ears. You can also achieve the same thing with like basically giving them water, but I just find, or I personally found, by giving the pacifier, it just meant that there was a continuous sucking, and therefore I didn't have to wait for, you know, my baby's ears to start, you know, feeling like quite pressurized before I gave her some water, and she was absolutely fine. The other thing I would recommend is that you bring antibacterial wipes. So on an aircraft, you know, they do their best to clean, but, you know, for the purposes of your baby who's going to be touching everything and then putting their hands inside their mouth, I would really recommend that you bring antibacterial wipes or an antibacterial spray, or preferably both, which is what I did, because with the when you arrive at your destination, and if you use a high chair, for example, you know, where your baby's going to be eating from, assuming that your baby does eat, you'll need to wipe down that surface. Now, typically they'll give you something to wipe it down, but it's not going to be antibacterial wipes. So just, you know, bear that in mind. And then also when you're on the aircraft, you know, lots and lots of places are not very clean where your baby's going to be touching. So I'd really recommend that you bring some antibacterial wipes. Also bring lots and lots of toys, and make sure that they're tethered, because often babies throw things about, and sometimes it might end up under somebody else's seat, and then you'll have to go fishing for it along the aisles. And if it's a packed flight, I mean, that's going to be a little bit difficult to find your baby's item, not to mention it's then been on the floor, so you can't really give it to your baby without wiping it down. So I'd really recommend that any toys are tethered with a clip. And then you also have to think about when you are packing for yourself and your partner. So I would recommend one suitcase for you and your partner, and then another suitcase that is just for baby stuff. One of the life-saving things that I would recommend as well when you're packing, regardless of whether or not you have a baby, is packing cubes. They are so fantastic because it allows you to categorize everything and easily find what you need. And so when you get to the hotel room, you can then easily unpack and know where everything is and basically access everything fairly easily. You also have to be very efficient with the weight allowance. So if you know that you only use pre-made formula, so when you use pre-made formula, obviously it's a lot heavier than the formula that's in powder form. So in order to distribute the weight allowance properly, I would recommend that you use your weight allowance for your hand luggage. That way, and also one thing to note is that with formula is that there's no limits on the volume of formula that you're allowed to bring. So just make sure that you distribute your weight allowance carefully. Number 8, when you arrive, I'd recommend that you unpack what you need for a set number of days. So I wouldn't unpack everything, but I would unpack like maybe 2 or 3 outfits for 2 to 3 days of wear. And that's also for you and your baby, so that you've still got all your luggage inside your suitcase ready to go, and it's much easier to then pack when you're trying to leave. So basically you bring out what you need as opposed to bring out everything from your suitcase. Another thing to mention is for the purposes of cleaning your baby's bottle, it depends on which country you're going to. Now, because I breastfeed, I didn't end up using a lot of bottles, but I did bring bottles obviously for the formula. I did bring also some water purification tablets, and that allows you to just keep your bottles very clean. Not all countries I would recommend you wash any of your baby's bottles with the water directly from the tap. So the water purification bottles are really, really useful. 12. Bathing your baby. So this is one of the, it really depends on what your perspective is on how you bathe your baby. Some people bathe their baby inside a sink or a basin. I personally don't do this. I have a baby bath, which is where I bathe her. So if you are the kind of person that doesn't mind bathing your baby in a sink, then it's absolutely imperative that you wash that sink or basin very, very well. And this is where your antibacterial wipes and antibacterial spray come in. Because even if the hotel are very good at cleaning, they're definitely not going to be cleaning the basin to your standards. Personally, for me, I decided to shower with my baby, so I was holding her as I gave her a bath. Obviously it means that both of you have to have a bath together, because there's no point in you being fully clothed and then washing her down. Although, having said that, if you do wear something very lightweight into the shower, it then prevents that sort of because skin on skin is very slippery. Whereas if you're actually wearing something, you know, a very, very light t-shirt that you know you don't mind getting wet, it means that you don't have that skin on skin contact, and then you don't have the slipperiness that inevitably comes with holding a wet baby and a soapy baby. So I would recommend, well, for me personally, I chose to bathe with my baby, or to have a shower with my baby while I held her. Okay, thank you for watching, guys. Obviously, as you can see, trying to do a video with a child is quite difficult, because they invariably wake up or start crying, or, you know, need some form of attention. But from me and Faith, thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next video. Oh, and by the way, let me know any of your tips for traveling with an infant. Maybe I've missed some, or maybe you have some additional ones to add, but leave them in the comment box and I'll try to reply. Thanks for watching. Bye.